We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson better than Okada.
How do you not get 60 after Monday Night Raw?
What's going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Tuesday, October 7th. We're here to break down some Monday Night Raw for you, which I'm pretty excited about because, as you can see in the title, this might have been the best Monday Night Raw in months. Which is, you know, that's big. That's a big statement. We'll see about that. We're going to break it down, and I have a sweet panel to break it down with me. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Let's get into it right away. But before we do, it is National Taco Day. But Zach, I feel like you're running out of days. You can't just make every Tuesday National Taco Day. I understand Taco Tuesday is a thing, but I just feel like that's unfair. We do, though, have Luis Morales in the comments of the Happy Taco Day, which, yeah, it still is a Happy Taco Day. I just don't know if it's national. I'm not even sure how that was there. We've also got Happy Tuesday WR Crew from Fernando Zayas. Happy Tuesday from Shad, the Tuesday Night Delight. You'll see him later tonight on Off the Air. We've also got last night's Raw was totally the best Raw from 2095 or 2925 for me. Fernando, congrats on the time machine. No doubt about it. It was a cool Raw from Shad. Yeah, there's no doubt about that too. But let me introduce that panel like I mentioned before. I'm going to keep it on the West Coast, and I love to be able to say that we've got to break down Monday Night Raw. We need Monday Night Mary, and she's back once again. How are you on this fine Tuesday, Mary?
Man, I'm good. Monday Night Mary, I loved it. This show was actually a really good one. So I'm excited to go on with it.
Absolutely. But before we do, we've got, and it's not always a return, but I just don't get to see this fellow often enough. He's back from his latest trip to the happiest place on earth, or one of the happiest places on earth. It's one of the happiest guys I know. In some circles, he's known as Mickey's best pal, but in this circle, he's known as Jordy in the Bank. How are you doing on this fine Tuesday, my friend?
Bro, you make me blush with these intros. I'm never expecting it, and then you just come out with this big intro. I've not even been anywhere. You're making me sound like Roman Reigns, the amount of returns that I've had to this show, but I appreciate it as always. And yeah, I'm the happiest guy when I'm here because I'm talking about Monday Night Raw with you. So yeah, I couldn't be happier. It's National Taco Day. We had a great Raw. Let's tackle about it.
No, how about
you
that?
Did it.
Out of the gates. That is outstanding. And there's Shad. You're the man.
Get out of the chat, Shad. Get out of the chat.
Today I'm on the ones and twos, and I will not do that. I think Jordy
kick him from the chat.
Mutes himself. Oh,
Shad,
wow.
Get out of here. We don't care if we get one less viewer. We can afford one less viewer. Shad, get out of here. Stop distracting me. You didn't even bother to show up on the show. You should be sat here with us talking about it. You're not, but you were obviously available. You out here in the chat.
Shad,
what's that about?
He'll be on tonight. Right, we know that. This is interesting. The Shad and Jordy rivalry goes way back, but I do respect the goatee. It's a little Johnny Depp like. Got to give you credit, Jordy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
My first thoughts were Johnny Depp, not enough hair for pirates, but maybe with a wig.
It's getting there.
You could get there. You could get there. You'll make it eventually there, Jordy. I think.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Without question. Let's talk about things that we will be getting to, and one of them is Roman Reigns, the OTC, taking on the Tribal Thief once again at Crown Jewel. This was an interesting segment last night. I dig it. I find it hysterical, personally, that Bronson Reed's out here wearing a Bloodline design t-shirt that says Tribal Thief. That tickles me. We had Sami Zayn attempting to join the Bloodline and wearing various t-shirts until he finally got his own. This is totally unique to that. This is the first actual sort of stab in the side shirt made in that regard, I think, when it comes to the Bloodline, and I respect it. I loved this segment. I love the rivalry so far. I like the match. I like that the shoes are sort of still a part of it, but not the full story. Mary, I'll go to you first on this one. What did you think? Who do you have for this match between Roman and Bronson Reed? Because it would be the biggest win of Bronson's career if he can pull off the upset at Crown Jewel against the Tribal Chief. There's no doubt about that.
Let alone if he actually pulls it off, just because they're in Australia, you know, the hometown crowd, it's going to be really just that big push for him to see if he can pull it off again against Roman, especially if someone like the Tribal Chief, you know, the Tribal Chief in Australia, you're going to get a good reaction if he actually does pull it off, which I think he will. I think he will somehow, some visioned way he will.
Yeah, I do think so too. And I'm really glad you brought up the home crowd factor here, because that's interesting to me. It feels from my position, and this used to be sort of an old trope, I feel like, when it came to WWE booking, where you go to your hometown and you lose.
Mhm.
You get the home ice advantage, you get the home court advantage, you lose, till CM Punk sort of broke that curse of Money in the Bank in Chicago. But the way that this has been booked, is it just me, or does it feel like they haven't even really factored in the potential that this is a split crowd for Bronson Reed against Roman Reigns in Australia? That is a distinct possibility. And Jordy, I want to get your thoughts on if that's possible, also the execution. And do you think, like Mary mentioned, maybe some vision-y way, Bronson Reed pulls off this victory?
It's a tricky one, because it does this. I could be negative about it and be like, "Oh, we're ticking boxes. We're getting the guy that's lives pretty close. Well, he's from pretty close to Australia. We're getting him on the card." And I think he should be on the card, because last time in Elimination Chamber, something happened. I swear he got injured right before the card or something like that, and he was supposed to be in the match, but he wasn't. So I think he should be on the card from a booking standpoint. And I kind of disagree, maybe even resent this whole Romans doing side quests nonsense that I'm reading online, because like we talk about, oh, we need to build up new people. I think Bronson, since his return, since joining the Vision, has been a bit of an unsung hero. I think he's just every now and again he has to take a pin, but he's still coming across as dominant. And I'm really looking forward to this match. I think they could have gone full gimmick and had it a ladder match and hung the shoes above the ring. They've not gone for that angle, and I don't know if I'm happy about that. I kind of would have liked to see it, but I get it. If we're taking it a bit more serious, we're taking it down the route of we're bringing up family. Do you know what I mean? We're bringing up family who are no longer with us, and we've not that long passed away. Do you know what I mean? So they've gone down a very much a more serious route, talking about the fact that nobody had them carried out on a stretcher. Nobody had done that to Roman until Bronson Reed. So they're building Bronson up as a force, as they should. Which way is it going to go? Are they going to take Roman Reigns all that way after filming Street Fighter to make him lose? Maybe they will. If they are, though, I think they will. Listen, you know the Vision. They shenaned once and they'll shenan again. I think there'll be shenanigans if he loses. I don't think it'll be a clean loss.
I'm 100% with you, and I love that. They'll shenan once, they'll shenan again. There's no doubt. I think if given the hypothetical scenario where it is a Bronson Reed victory, I think, to your point, shenanigans will be involved. We've got a bunch of comments here I want to run through really quick. First off, we got Jeremy Orloff with same. I thought Johnny Depp. Absolutely. Mary replaced me from Shad. Yes,
Good.
she did.
All right,
yes,
bro.
She did. Yes, she did, Shad. And then Numero One Superfly, this comment cracked me up, but I also really love it. There's a lot here. What is with the wrestling companies making street fights based on the location they're at? What kind of weapons are they going to use for an Australian street fight? Boomerangs, kangaroos? I think we're more inclined to see a boomerang than a kangaroo, but
I think it might be sponsored by Street Fighter. Might be why Roman is in an Australian street fight. Same
guess. That's Jordy. Took the words right out of my mouth, and I appreciate it too, because I think you're spot on. It ought to be. That's the only way, right? Otherwise, I think they might have called it like a Perth street fight or something like that. But just like the fact that street fights attached to it and everything, it does seem like logically with Street Fighter being filmed and everything, yeah, that makes sense. Shot in the comments here with Roman should lose, and I think is tough. It'd be very interesting. Shenanigans it has to be to me, though. I don't think Roman should lose clean to Bronson Reed. even if it looks dominant at the end with a number of tsunamis, right? Or something like that. The route there to me can't be clean with Roman these days.
No, especially with the angle he's taking with Jay being like, you have to be dominant, you have to run through everyone, blah, blah. If he goes and loses to Bronson Reed, he kind of, it's like, well, what are you talking about though? Like, you've kind of not won for a while, bro. So, like, I think to carry on that angle with Jay, I think you need to make Roman look pretty dominant. Maybe bloody, but dominant.
That is the route I would go to there, especially if you're going to have Roman win. This is where Ben Davis said I would look for Bronson to win at home, but does that hurt Roman and his aura? That's the question there. And to your point, a bloodied Roman, win or lose, maybe something like that, where it's just like, if it is going to be the loss, it's got to be shenanigans. If it's going to be the win, it's got to be a war. I think for both guys' sake, because I don't know that Roman needs to be elevated, but what he doesn't need to be is devalued, right? Bronson needs to be elevated 100% further, I think, especially given the way that the conjecture has been around the vision in the first place, with Braun Breaker being the logical next guy and Bronson being the other guy. Like, as much as they've teamed together, this singles rivalry is huge for Bronson Reed. And I think it's really important. And we'll be able to discuss more of that, I think, when we get to the next segment, because we got Heyman and Rollins and stuff to discuss as well. And that is all interesting, no doubt. We've got a ton of comments here. DCX Warlord, just speaking facts here. Yes, I am absolutely rooting for Mustafa Ali. Shout out Chicago, no doubt about that. But with that, let's actually get into this Heyman topic, because I think it links to the first one so much the three of us can really break this down. And Heyman gets honest with Seth Rollins for the first time. That's just hard to read. I'm supposed to ask here, Jordy, does this make the crown jewel stuff too predictable when it comes to Seth? But Heyman getting honest with Rollins in the first place, just thinking about that, even with what I saw last night, I don't think Heyman's ever gotten honest or been honest with anybody. So what was said last night, I don't know how much finger quotes honesty was involved in that. Jordy, talk to me about that. But do you also think that it slightly telegraphs the finish here when it comes to Crown Jewel in Perth? That's the question.
No more so than I already thought it was telegraphed, right? Like, I didn't kind of think Cody was going to win this one for multiple reasons. I think it makes sense for Seth to win it for the vision. I think it makes sense for Seth to win it for the Cody versus Seth record. I think it'd be more effective for us to see a kind of a crack in Cody's armor. And yeah, I think once again, it'll be shenanigans. And I think that's the whole I have to win by any means necessary. When they showed the video package last night, they were talking about how Seth in particular actually was talking about how Roman and the Bloodline suffocated WWE and how he needed to stop that because the group couldn't have that much power. Yeah, look at him. Here he is. 6 months later? Well, no, probably longer than that. I don't know. Time escapes me. But anyway, he's doing the same thing, right? And I think he's knowledgeable of that. And I think he knows that's what he has to do to guarantee this win against Cody. And it's a decision of whether I become the thing that I wanted to destroy or whether I just fight and try and beat the guy that I just seem to not be able to beat. But now Heyman kind of dropping this on him. But you're right. We don't know. We don't trust Heyman. Like, you just can't. You can't trust Paul Heyman. Cody said it to Braun, I think, didn't he? Like a couple of weeks ago, when he was like,
"Yeah,
I grew up with these people. I grew up with bookers, and I've always been able to figure them out. Everyone's always been able to figure each other out, apart from this guy. Like this guy, nobody ever knows where his loyalties lie." And then Cody said to Braun, "Well, I can guarantee where they don't lie is with you," which I thought was brilliant, because like when you look at all the people that Paul Heyman has double-crossed and betrayed over the years, and then you're like, does he really care about Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker? No, he cares about Paul Heyman. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. But yeah, I like that they've added this little caveat, because now every near fall in that match is gonna feel like much more. it feels like it's got much more on the line than just a ring and a new fancy belt, you know?
I think that's the entire key, is that what we're not talking about is what's up with the ring, what's up with the once a year belt, doesn't get to carry it, doesn't mean anything, all of that. No, this is added meaning. And that's the brilliance of Paul Heyman when we look at it third party, right? If we're looking at it inside the lens of the storyline itself, like you mentioned, Heyman's never been honest in his life. This is cracked me up from Fernando. Heyman makes Pinocchio the most honest human on earth. That got me good. And then we got Ben Davis here with this was the injection the Seth Heyman duo needed. Something was missing, and that's what we needed. And then the podcast, Grifter podcast here with Cody Loses, Clark will be a happy dude. Yes, sir, I will. No doubt about it. I'm hoping for it. Doesn't matter how it happens. But Mary, I do also want to get your thoughts on this subject because look, Paul Heyman was the key cog in the vision in the first place. Changed everything when it came to night one of WrestleMania. It was the start of the storyline. It's cyclical for Paul Heyman at this point, right? He sort of makes his move, bounces around and all of that. And there's something to be said about that. Do you, though, also back to the original question, just when it comes to the predictability, do you think this made things too predictable? Or are you kind of in agreement with, I would honestly say me, Jordy, and what it seems like the majority of the viewers are saying, that it makes a lot of sense in that it injects a new lifeline into the Vision storyline?
I think it sure does, because Heyman actually showing a little bit of the truth, like he just threw a little splash of it, like a little reality check to Seth. And for this match to just kind of be, not to be mean, a champion versus champion match, it, like Jordy said, it gives it a little bit of a shock value to where Seth goes for that pin and that kick out. We're going to get the reaction that I think that they were looking for. And I think Seth has to pull it off somehow. Is it clean? Well, I don't know. It's never really clean with the Vision.
That's so true. Yeah, I'm with you. And I said it earlier in the week as my take of the week on the Wrestling Republic podcast. Cheap plug for myself there. But my take of the week was that this is an absolute must win for Seth Rollins. At this stage, if he takes one more loss to Cody Rhodes, how do we ever tell a story about Seth versus Cody again?
Has he at any point said, I need to do this on my own. You will stay back here?
No, and that's the good news.
Yeah, like surely, like that's wrestling 101, right? Like if that is gonna happen, we see a dramatic backstage scene where they go, "Yeah, we're gonna have you back," and he goes, "No, you stay back here for this one."
Yes,
I need to do this on my own, and we have not seen that. I was thinking last night we might see it, but we still haven't. So I think he's gonna bloodline his way to the top, which is so ironic.
Which I love.
Given it's Seth Rollins. Yeah, me too.
Does
yeah,
exactly what he fought against during the finishing of the story.
With
that
Paul
is a beautiful
next
thing,
to him as
Jordy.
well.
That is, I'm really glad you brought that up too. That makes, because that is like sort of that serendipitous full circle type thing. Like he became what he didn't want to be. Right.
And then you actually start to look at the question is, was Roman Reigns that good? Or is it always been Paul Heyman?
Right.
Is it always Paul Heyman? Is that the thing, the correlation, the common denominator in all of this? It's Paul Heyman.
I know this is an American sports reference, Jordy, but I think you'll appreciate it. It kind of takes me back to the days where the debate was, is it Tom Brady or is it Bill Belichick? And those questions seem to have been answered the last few years. And it was Tom, right? But that dominated the NFL landscape as far as especially off-season fodder and things to talk about when they're not necessarily playing the games, right? For many years, and I love the idea of setting us up something similar there. Was it always Paul Heyman? Or was it always Roman? Was it always Seth? Any of them. Even you can almost go with it back to Brock.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, back to Punk. Like, literally, like, as far as, like, do you know what I mean? Like, who was the longest reigning champ before Roman? Well, one of them. Punk had a very long reign in a time where people weren't really having long reigns. So, like, Heyman has been this factor throughout WWE history since he was the competition, you know. So.
Absolutely. We've got a comment here really quick. Jeremy Orloff with, I feel Seth was in his head until Heyman got brutally honest with him. Yeah, I think that's kind of, we're on the same page there, right? Like, that's what happens. Like, to your point, Jordy, it almost felt like they tiptoed along the lines of Seth getting to a point where he did the I'm doing this on my own thing because he was so obsessed, and then Heyman sort of talked him out of it. And that's what injects even further into this.
I think that's why he's staring at the watch as well. I think that's why he's constantly staring at the watch, because he's thinking, like, I got given this to take down what I'm about to become.
I said, though, in this match, what I would love to see is stomp the watch.
Yeah, stomp the watch. Yeah,
stomp the watch.
Stomp Cody's head
Or
into
just
the watch.
hit him
ideally.
really hard
or hit him with break the watch in some way.
Yeah,
two for two.
Yeah,
make
Cody
Cody bleed
watches
with the watch.
What
2
we,
for
need,
2.
what we need to see, and the other thing is, it's probably really hard to crack a face of a Rolex. I've never done it personally.
Oh yeah, get a fake one. Don't be doing it to the real one.
Figure it out so that the visual of the cracked face, the watch looks, whatever that is, WWE, I'm asking you, I'm begging you.
Make a prop.
Figure out so that the watch looks destroyed.
Yeah.
Even if it is the real one, figure out a way to break it. Like, it doesn't matter to me when it comes to that, but we do have a ton more to talk about today. Before we do, though, I've got a few other things I want to mention quickly. One of which is, of course, this week's schedule. We've got an awesome one. As you can see, that is last week's schedule, so we're not even going to plug that. Let's talk about Barista Coffee. I thought we had a new graphic. My bad. Let's talk about Barista Coffee really quick. Barista's small batch organic coffee created through excellence, authenticity, and unforgettable moments. Head over to barista.com, and there's great merch on there. The coffee's really fresh. It's awesome. You're going to love it. And then definitely also subscribe to Wrestling Republic's Undercard channel. It's Wrestling Republic Undercard. There's exclusive videos, clips, and more. Thank you so much, as always. But let's keep today's show rolling. And I apologize for the quick delay there. Sorry, that was ridiculous. I didn't see that coming. I was so convinced it was going to be this week's schedule. But,
you had me convinced.
I had it. I was
I
like,
didn't even notice.
I was like, oh, this is the logical one to click on. No, let's talk about Maxine Dupree and Becky Lynch, because honestly, I loved this. And the other thing that I love about this is I'm a big fan of Natalya and the work she's done this year. The book is amazing. I actually got to finish it, reading it on my trip. It's outstanding. Everything she's done with her job on SiriusXM, working on the radio, the independent stuff that she's done as Natalya. Like, I loved, she quoted herself saying, like, and Natty is the rookie of the year because Natalya has been around forever, but this is the first time you get to see Natty. I love that. One person she's put over all year is Maxine Dupree, in her time that she spent at the dungeon and the work that she's put in to be a really awesome pro wrestler. And she put on a really awesome pro wrestling match with one of the very best in the world last night in Becky Lynch. And I loved it. It's a classic old school finish. It's a count out, but it's a win. It's a win. Is a win. And nobody, in my eyes, deserved this more than Maxine Dupree. Becky Lynch is still firing on all cylinders. Mary, you and I did our top 10 kayfabe rankings on Sunday, and only 2 people of the 4 of us ranked Becky Lynch number 1 in the entire industry. Both of those people happen to be on this very show. That's you and I. I thought she did the job perfectly for this match. Maxine deserved it. Everything about this to me was beautiful, but I got to get your thoughts. How cool was this? And yeah, maybe we'll get a little bit of heat for putting Becky number 1 in a spot where she then on Monday night loses by countout. So what? This is why she was number 1 in my eyes. Am I wrong, Mary? Talk to me about it.
This wasn't a championship match. I'll just say that right off the bat. I don't believe it was for the championship, so the loss doesn't count. But however, I will say it's simple. Maxine Dupree, this was her best match. By far. By far. I will say she did look a little nervous in the beginning, but once she just got her move and her groove going, I could just tell she loosened up so much. And her and Becky, they carried on a good classic. Now, that spot with the ref, though, are we gonna get a first time ever referee versus superstar match in God knows how long? Because I'll say it's simple. The ref, she counted way too fast. The 8, 9, 10. I'm watching you, Jessica Carr. But I'd say Maxine did a wonderful job. I say this feud with Maxine and Becky, it's probably been one of the most underrated feuds, just for the sake of like how Clark said that Natty's been really pushing Maxine for, I'd say, like the last year, and she's just been getting so much better. Match of the night by far.
I think so too, and I'm with you. We've got some comments here. Number one Superfly with Maxine's long losing streak is over. For whatever reason, she should have technically won with a pin. I could have sworn the referee did count to 3. I thought it was close too. And that goes back to the Jessica Carr comment that our good friend Mary just made here, because I kind of saw the same thing, and that would be interesting. Even if I don't know necessarily about a match between a referee and Becky Lynch, but maybe a Becky Lynch, given the current character, the state of the current character, complaining every time she's the referee of her match, and making that into a thing, requesting referees, things like that. Then maybe we end up, when Becky's finally ready to drop that IC title, you got to have a special guest referee.
Let's light it up.
I love that. Build to something like that. This tickled me coming. Fernando, friend of the show, with Maxine had a 1, 2, 3 kid moment last night. No doubt that's what it felt like. Absolutely one of my favorite moments as a kid. I had the most unusual matches, VHS. That used to be my sick day VHS I was watching as a kid. You get the Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart ladder match, where the roles are reversed from the Mania match that would come 2 years later. And Shawn was the heel, accompanied by Sherry Martel, and Bret Hart was the babyface in a ladder match. And then immediately following that was 1, 2, 3 Kid versus Razor Ramon. So that moment is ingrained in my memory forever, because I've watched it 9,000 times. But Jordy, I do also want to ask you about this one. A monumental victory for Maxine Dupree, a much better wrestled match than I ever could have anticipated. But Becky Lynch is seriously firing on all cylinders. When she first did Big Time Bex, I was highly critical of it. I thought it was a little bit Conor McGregor knockoffy. I hate to say that, because obviously they're both Irish and whatnot. I don't mean it in that way, but it just felt too in your face. She has found her groove as a heel. And she's approaching like Bailey territory in my eyes of range when it comes to the 4 horsewomen. She can play anything, whether it be the ultimate babyface in the industry or a big time heel, pun intended there. Jordy, what were your thoughts on last night, and also Becky's run here with the IC title? Because I just think it's just been nothing short of delightful.
I'm not surprised that you guys put Becky as your top on your list of women's wrestlers, right? Because she says it herself. She's the greatest women's wrestler of all time, and other people say it, and you two are examples of that. So I hope you're happy. I thought last night was just fantastic. I have been preaching for Maxine Dupree for the longest time. I know she's got something, and last night she showed it. I completely agree. There was a little bit of nerves at the start, but I think it almost like played into the fact that at the end of the day, like, she's going up against Becky Lynch. Like, if I was toe to toe with Roman Reigns, like, I would be nervous. And I think character wise, it would make sense that I was nervous. So I think it kind of gets a pass from me. And then it's the first time I think I've really seen her find a groove and look relaxed and look like she's really confident in what she was doing. And yeah, I think it was brilliant. And what I also will say as well is the person that got her into wrestling in terms of kayfabe was Master Gable. So it's Chad Gable. Mm-hmm. And she won that match in a very similar way that Gable beat Gunther when Gunther was the IC champion as well. So I think that was a little throwback there, a little nod to be like, she beat a dominant IC champion in the same way that her kayfabe master did it by rolling into the ring when essentially Gunther was being a bit cocky, wasn't he? So
Jordy, you're a genius. I never even thought of that. That is so brilliant, and Gable is so good, and it's so true. The finish is nearly identical. Like, oh man, it makes so much sense. Now, the one thing I will say, by the way, we didn't even do top 10 women's wrestlers. We're talking inside of kayfabe, the top 10 wrestlers of the last year, Jordy.
Okay.
We both ranked Becky 1.
Yeah, fair.
I of course was mostly doing it just to troll Ben, because
illustrate and say it.
Yeah, SI. They love them.
Bleacher Report.
Yeah, as soon as SI reports on the Chris Weaver stuff, they don't even say me and Shad's names. They're like the Wrestling
Shad,
Republic show.
Shad's angry in the comments.
We gave Natty credit.
And we gave Natty
Shad, did you not hear my whole spiel on the Natty thing? Did you tune out for the first 5 minutes of the segment?
He must have tuned out. He must have tuned out.
Shotty, I gave Natty.
It's because I didn't give a credit because it had already been covered, so he's coming for me in the comments.
Unbelievable, Shad. Unbelievable. SP3, we don't. Oh, why did I even say that? We don't shout out other programs. Let's stick with our own. Let's stick with our own program here. Let's move on to our main event of the evening. The main event of the evening. One of the greatest tag teams of all time, the Usos, taking on one of the newest, not really that good of friends tag teams of all time, LA Knight and CM Punk. Pretty cool that they definitely have, the acronymed beginning of their names. You got LA and CM. Could have been cool in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a stone unturned, at least in my eyes. LA Knight, CM Punk, Chicago made, Los Angeles Knight. I don't know. I kind of dig it. Can they coexist, though? A classic WWE trope. We get it. And it turns out they can't really, but they still won. CM Punk earns the victory, but really LA Knight stole it. And I dug it. I like it. I'm not totally sure when it comes to this match or all of it. I don't know. I didn't mean that. It was a joke on the SP3 thing, Shad. I was literally just joking. No hatred. There's literally no hate here. But at the same time, let's talk about Punk and Knight versus the Usos. Big victory, but not really. Thank you, Jamie. This is where my thoughts were. Sorry, I got thrown off there for a second. I felt the match was mid too. And the reason being because it was really predictable. This was a match to tell a story about LA Knight and CM Punk, and then the Usos were collateral damage. That was the way I thought about it. It bothered me in that sense. I'm going to start with you, Mary, on this one. What did you think about the finish? LA Knight and CM Punk is a tantalizing rivalry for me. I don't think we need to have a whole tag match where they beat the Usos to set it up, though.
I completely agree. I don't know why it turned into a tag match. That didn't make sense to me. If we're gonna have the Roman, Jay, Jimmy fiasco, and then here comes CM Punk and LA Knight, trying to do their thing, feud to see who's next after Crown Jewel, it was too much. I was just like really, really confused at first. But I will say the pin at the end, that gave heel LA Knight from when he was back in NXT, and I ate it up. It was so good. Punk was just shocked, and he just stood there like, did he just do that to me? The best in the world? Yes, he did.
I love that, Mary. I'm so with you. The sell by Punk, facial expression wise, was off the charts. That's what made that part. Honest to goodness, that was the highlight of the match. And what I think the part that's frustrating to me about it is you have the Usos with two pretty much main event talents. Punk very much so. LA Knight's been in main events, and the match was not about the match. Donnie in the comments with the finish confirms that not only is Jey Uso going to be a spinning out huge, but he will be a world champion. Quote me. I will. Absolutely. I think that's fair. This is the comment of the day, though. And Podcast Grifter Podcast, I got to give you mad credit here because it just tickled me. I have to read this because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. LA Knight's WWE name is Calvin Cambridge's basketball team in Like Mike. And yes, he did play for the Los Angeles Knights.
Well, there you go.
Lil Bow Wow did play for the Los Angeles Knights when he found the old pair of Michael Jordan's shoes. And I had never made that connection. And I cracked for that one. That is unbelievable. And then Victoria says, hi, Marion. Great take. No doubt about it. Hi, Victoria, from everybody.
Hi, Tori.
We love you. Hi, Sammy, too, everybody.
Sammy.
Love.
Hi, everyone but
favorite
Shad.
human being ever.
No, even hi, Shad. We love
No,
you.
I'd like to say hi to Shad's family apart from Shad. Hello, everyone.
Jordy.
It's
All right.
crazy.
Well, I'm going to you on this one because what did you think of the match? I mean, dude, it just felt like so flat for having this much talent in the ring and what was supposed to be a main event spot. It felt like it was a side quest being played out in the middle of a match that should be more important. I'm just not totally sure. Talk to me about it, Jordy.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it was like announced halfway through the show, and I was like, "Wow, something big's gonna happen," and it just felt like, oh, right, okay." And yeah, the Usos taking yet another loss, and I get it that we're on a kind of route to Jay and Jimmy, and they're not on the same page, and I get that, but like, let's just protect the Usos as a tag team. I think a little bit more than this. Having them lose to Braun and Bronson's one thing because, okay, you're putting them two over as a formidable force as a tag team. Having Punk and LA Knight beat them just felt a little bit like, okay, come on now. We're talking about like multiple times on commentary. They said this is like the best tag team of all time. And it's like, well, they just lost against two guys that have been thrown together. And that is 2 for 2 for LA Knight and CM Punk now. They beat Braun and Bronson and beat the Usos. So, I mean, they should probably enter the tag division because they'll probably do quite well. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's many storylines that's going on within this because you've got the whole Jimmy and Jay are gonna feud again at some point, I think, and Jimmy's gonna maybe have to take down a bit of a villainous Jay. You've obviously got the CM Punk angle with LA Knight. You've got the LA Knight and Jay angle. Having them all in a match, I get it, but I just think you need to give us a bit more of a wow finish or something a bit more to talk about for the main event. When you've got matches, for example, like Io Sky and Asuka, Io Sky and Kairi on the card that have a great storyline to it, had a great finish to it, and it's like, well, I think I would have rather have seen that as the main event. Or Maxine and Becky again. It was, imagine if that had been the main event, Maxine main eventing and with that finish, it would have like gone off air. It would have been incredible. So I just feel like maybe it's because of how good that match was.
That's
the momentum of the show had peaked and then we dropped back down. I don't know, but that shouldn't be the case when we're talking about the Usos. I don't think.
That is such a good point, dude. If you flip the order, I think you're spot on. It completely changes the way we perceive the end of the show. And I think, to your point, this may have landed better. Maybe we even see like a little bit leaving to the cars type segment between that and then the Maxine and Becky match if you flip the two.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, right? Like an upset.
I would have liked the promo battle into lead to rather than we get another match and then we find out that the main event. I would have liked it to have been, we're going to do it right now. That's how I would have liked that to have gone down and happened at that point on the card, and that finish wouldn't have felt so, because I would have been like, okay, we've still got good matches to look forward to here.
This is a really interesting comment because obviously Donnie DeSilva, industry veteran and a guy whose opinion I trust often, said Punk would destroy Knight in a promo battle, unmitigated squash. Donnie, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't disagree with you often. I think it'd be closer than you think. I think it'd be a lot closer than you think.
Yeah,
especially these days,
well.
I think Knight might be able to sneak in a few because the other thing is when things like this happen, I felt actually similarly headed into Max and Punk's 18-minute AEW promo segment, which is actually oddly one of my favorites. It's amazing. I think it's incredible. I thought Punk was going to feed him his lunch. To be honest, I thought like, okay, he's going to teach this kid a lesson as much as MJF can go. No, that was equal. And I think in a weird way, I think Knight can get him well enough with body language and delivery that if he's got anything clever, because this is where he said Knight is pre-written verses. If it's a freestyle rap, we're not talking about freestyle. If we're talking freestyle rap, Shoddy beats everybody on the mic. We know that. Everybody in the world knows that. Shoddy is the ultimate freestyle battler when it comes to that. So, I mean, we've already got him over here at WR. There's no doubt. But I do think it's possible that that he can stay in the game more.
I think LA Knight does kind of freestyle, man, because I think sometimes to a point where like he gets a little bit lost, and I'm like, where are you going with this? And he always finds his way back. But I do listen. I'm not saying categorically LA Knight can deliver a better promo than CM Punk, and if they went head to head, I just don't think it would be a squash. I really don't. I think he would be able to go with him. Like even think like when Roman was at his peak of being Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, and he had the moment when he just brushed past him and he didn't let him do his entrance, and then he got to the ring and Roman was being all, I'll be gentle with you, this is your first time. I don't think he squashed him on the mic. And Roman at that time, again, granted, Punk is better than Roman. I'm not saying he isn't, but Roman at that time was pretty good on the mic, and he held his own. I think the only person that could potentially squash LA Knight would be Cena, and I would hate to see it, but
that would be brutal.
I've seen Cena nasty destroy people on the mic sometimes, and like I don't feel like Punk actually would do that. Whereas I've seen Cena do it to like he did to Theory and people like that, and I'm just like, oh god, let him live.
I hear you 100%, and I mean, this is all going to get interesting. I also don't mind Punk and Knight being opposite each other. Period. Like it makes a lot of sense to me. Like those two are in a similar category to me in what's going on right now. Like we don't need either one near Cody or Seth, especially considering there's not going to be a world title match. So what else do you do but have the two feud together? The route to get there along with the Usos being involved in this didn't make a heck of a lot of sense to me. And I think that's where I'm at on it. But I do believe that it was one of the best Raws in months. I'm with that. And with that, it's also going to bring us to the end of the show. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody that did. We're going to be back same time, same place tomorrow, of course. It's noon Pacific, 3 o'clock over on the East Coast, 8 o'clock for my friends in the UK, and more importantly, 9 a.m. for my good friends in Hawaii. Thank you so much. As always, have a great rest of your Tuesday. If you have no plans tonight, guess what you do now? Yes, there's NXT and AEW. Watch both, but then check out Off the Air. I won't be there, but guess who will? Tuesday Night Delight himself, Shoddy. We've got the guy you should believe in, Andre Drizzy Martin. And best of all, well, not even best of all, they're all the best. But Aunt You filling in for me. On behalf of me, Clark Taylor, Mary, and Mickey's best pal, Jordy in the Bank, Jordy Hillman, all of us at WR, have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we will talk to you soon.